Hello and welcome back. We are to the second part of the transfer tutorial. As you can see, I have completely traced over the image. So now I can take the back of the tape off. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to spray it with Final Fixative so that this does not move. Because remember, we have to turn this thing over and retrace it on the other side. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. And Final Fixative fixes it to the paper, like I said, so it does not move. And this is what it is. You can also use aerosol hairspray. It works just the same as Final Fixative. So I'm going to use the Final Fixative on this. And you got to make sure that you get every single area. So what I do is I always start from the bottom and work my way up. Now this stuff smells really bad, and unfortunately I'm in a bedroom, my bedroom, so it's gonna make it smell really, really bad in here. Right. Oh, and what I want to mention about this spray fixative too, because it is an aerosol, do not use it around flames. I just wanted to put that out there. And then what you want to do is make sure that it's completely saturated, and you have to wait for it to dry a little bit before you touch it, because if it's not dry, it's going to be sticky and you don't want that. So you want to make sure that when you touch it, it doesn't come off and that it's dry. And sometimes you'll realize that you missed an area um, that you need to do. Just wait until it's dry before you try to rework the area. And I noticed I missed an arm here and some shading on the back of this person here. Um, but if you notice, I don't know if you could see it, but it's a little shiny, and that means that it's still wet in some areas. See, like that, I'm touching right now, right here. Right here is still wet because it's kind of still shiny. So I can rework this area where I missed her arm. And then respray it again in that area that I missed. And the back of the person's shirt where I missed some spots too. So again, I'm just spraying over those areas. And you got to be careful if you spray too close to it as well. As you can see, it gets really wet. really fast. So you got to be careful, especially because it's on top of your picture, your photograph underneath. If it's a very good photograph that you have underneath, like I do, this photograph was taken on my study abroad trip when I went to Western Europe for my digital photography class. And so I decided I wanted to do it as an actual painting. So that's why I'm doing it now for this tutorial because it's something that I want to do for this. And as you can see, I have a really big canvas which takes up the whole entire screen. Um, that canvas is 16 inches by 40 inches. I usually love to work larger because you would think that going larger you would have more detail and it would take longer. But for me, actually, going larger makes the detail less and the picture goes a lot quicker because you can use bigger brushes for it. For a smaller canvas, you have to use very small fine tip brushes, and I'm going to show you different brush sizes and different types. Okay, so we have a natural hair brush, and it's a straight edged brush. This here is great for straight lines as well as large areas. And also what I want to mention about brushes is the best idea is to make sure you get natural hair brushes of different courses. Basically, coarse meaning the texture. Some are rough, some are very, very soft brushes. This one here is natural horsehair, um, and it's a little bit rougher. So then you could do dry brushing, which I'll get into in another tutorial later on down the road. But for this purpose of this tutorial, we're just doing the process of the transferring and talking about the basic stuff that you would use once you do get into painting. Okay, so now it is dry, except for in that one area because I sprayed it a little too much. Um, but so now that most of it is dry and it's not coming off that I notice at all, just make sure. Okay, it's good enough to take off. Okay, so like I said before in the previous tutorial, you want to make sure that this tape on the lines does not come off. What I'm doing now is taking the tape off from the back. And you can also use this later. It's painter's tape. Um, Usually it's blue, so you could tell the difference between masking tape or painter's tape. Painter's tape is usually blue. And painting tape is better than masking tape because it doesn't ruin the image that you're working on. It comes off a lot easier. So I've pretty much almost gotten it off the background or the photograph. And we're gonna just slide it off as easy as we can. And already, because of the way I had it, um, it came apart. So, but it's not too bad where I had it, because I did it on a line so it's lined up properly. Okay. And you want to make sure that the drawn line is where you need it to be. Okay. So now it's completely off your photograph, as you can tell. And then now we're going to go back in and trace the other side. And it, again, because we don't want the image backwards, and that's why we're doing it. So I'm going to say farewell again, because I have to go in and trace this. And then once that's done, I can transfer it over to the canvas. And that's it for the transferring process.